Hello everyone, in today's episode of ZOWIE Esports Class, Play Like a Pro, we'll be walking you through CT Mirage, exactly how Heroic likes to play it.
Which is probably the map that's played the most in PUCs. I'm sure that this is a map where tips and tricks can be very important because you are quite surely going to play this a lot when you play your matchmaking or whatever it might be. We start out by talking about the A-side defender. Rounds where he shouldn't do this, where you are full buying, is to come here and flash over middle like this. This is like a flash that is going to help your guy coming into the window to peek, or the guy who's like trying to go towards connector. This flash, if I just throw to show you guys, any terrorist who's trying to run out is going to get completely blinded. Usually happens is you have your guy with the AWP, he wants to start in the window, he peeks, but if he has a bad spawn, opponents can already be like out, cross towards the boxes, or the AWP can be watching him. Opponent's AWP player is watching the window because he had a good spawn. Then you throw the flashbang and he gets blind, and then he's gonna shoot and go back, and you can take the angle and have an advantage. Depending on the situation, as an A player, what you would usually do is you come and either you molly and then you flash, or you can like flash and then you can molly over the boxes. Oftentimes it's a little bit too late if they're like running up fast ramp. Come here and then you flash over middle, you go back, you make the smoke ramp, and then you can like peek if they're pushing in front of it. And if they're not, then you completely blocked ramp, you helped your teammate middle with a flash, and if he wants, he can get another one which is just like this. This is one of the best flashes you can throw as a teammate on this map. What will happen is when stavn is smoking this position, he's like peeking, he sees nobody, then you throw this flash over the connector for him, and this is a flash that just gets everyone who's like trying to come close here. So he's just like pushing through the smoke with his M4 and just being a beast. If you want to make some aggressive moves in ramp, you can also sometimes get other teammates, the connector players, to flash over middle. But what you can do is that you can molly ramp, run down towards it, then you can stop the molly on the left side, and then you have like this kind of gap. And sometimes this is gonna surprise the opponents because they stand here, they hear that you are mollying ramp, then you stop it with a smoke, and then they're like, I can peek because ramp is smoked, but it's not, or well it is, but there's a huge gap in it. That's a pretty good play. Other than that, I think like using your utility quite early on A is just always good. So it can also be molly ramp, nade down, go towards under balcony. Then what some players do is they go up, they smoke, then they watch ramp again, and you can like play these kind of positions, which is like just standing here in these off angles, which some players are looking for and some are not. Like what happens sometimes is the terrorist is coming up, and then they have to look towards like shadow and stuff, and then you're standing right there. It's just like a super good position to tap people's heads, and you're not as visible from Palace. They'll have to look all the way here, which is pretty uncommon. They might look like towards ticket, and then they're like running out. So the small other trick you can do as a ramp player is that when you blocked this position and you're peeking and you see nobody's coming, you can play it from this side. So you help your players in middle where the action is, and then you can just hold A by peeking Palace, peeking ramp, peeking Palace, peeking ramp, peeking middle. You know, you're like active, you're like staying between all these positions. And you might think it's risky to peek these things when you're exposed to Palace, but at least in pro level, what oftentimes happens is that the Palace guy must never peek first, because if he dies, well, then you don't have to be scared of the position, so he needs to wait. So you can always like kill a guy slope and then be ready for the Palace player to come out, which is very nice.
That's it guys, that's some tips and tricks on CT Mirage, Heroic style. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you for the next episode of ZOWIE Esports Class, Play Like a Pro.